Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Exposing the Clown World Circus. This is Steve Eyes, and you're on the EyesisWatchin channel. Alien invasion incoming. And I ain't talking about Mexicans. Okay, the Project Bluebeam Psy-Op is full speed ahead now. Never thought I'd live to see the day. I mean, can you believe it? They really might pull the final card this soon? I mean, I still got my plandemic decorations up. Klaus Schwab is out here bragging about the intelligence age, while Trump signs executive orders that accelerate the same damn agenda. Can't believe it. I mean, we got cyber attack beta tests happening everywhere now, websites going down, banks freezing, and the demons in charge, aka the pedos in charge, that's right, the DICPICs are laying it out. Okay, the next Psy-Op is right in front of us. They're telling you exactly what they're about to do, and now they've picked their perfect scapegoat. You can feel the buildup because for years, they've been laying the groundwork for this worldwide blackout, okay? Running drills, running simulations, and beta testing it. And now they've got their perfect excuse for the cyber attack they've been planning, okay? The same pedos who pushed the plandemic, the lockdowns, the digital ID rollout, and the financial collapse rehearsal are suddenly pretending artificial intelligence is out here hacking banks on its own like some rogue demon in the machine. And this is where that Klaus Schwab line actually matters here, because 5 years ago, he flat out warned people to pay attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack that would shut down power grids, transportation, hospitals, everything. And he bragged that COVID would look tiny compared to what's coming, calling the pandemic a timely opportunity to rethink cyber preparedness. Translation: the next false flag is digital. And here we are. I mean, now they're conditioning the minds of the public to accept this. Chinese-backed AI hacked the banks. Yeah, you heard that right. AI is the perfect scapegoat here because they can blame a foreign enemy without ever touching who actually runs the global infrastructure, while at the same time not fully blaming that foreign nation. Think about it. It's Chinese AI that went rogue. I mean, they couldn't even control it either. How tragic. But good news, they'll have a CBDC backup plan ready to go when that hits. And right when they push that narrative, this happens. An Anthropic report that reads like a movie script, claiming a Chinese group used Claude to run the first AI-orchestrated cyber espionage operation, doing 80 to 90% of the hacking by itself, scanning networks, finding vulnerabilities, generating exploits, stealing credentials, and then moving between systems, all by itself, and even sorting out the stolen data for intelligence value. Then they added the dramatic touch here saying the AI lies or fabricates credentials, like it has a personality of its own. Setting the stage, I mean, they know what to blame when the grid goes down, so nobody points their fingers at the DICPICs, okay? The IMF, the WEF, Israel that ran a simulation on hacking worldwide financial institutions, the intelligence agencies, the central banks, or the companies that built back doors into every little machine. They blame the algorithm, people. That's the Psy-Op foundation right there. That's the cover story for the reset they've been planning for decades. And that's why when banks freeze and the grid collapses or your phone locks you out of your money, they'll have the explanation ready. AI did it. Okay, not the government's drowning in debt or the institutions pushing this collapse. No, it's AI. Then comes the mandatory solution, okay? Digital ID, biometric login for everything. They'll say it's quantum-proof credentials. Programmable money will be right there waiting to CBDCs. They'll want full control over the internet access. And they'll say this will help prevent the next cyber attack. Just look at the timing here. I mean, this week, the BBC reports on Cloudflare, one of the biggest choke points on the internet. It suddenly collapsed and took down X, ChatGPT, Zoom, Canva, and thousands of sites all at once, right after the media started yelling about Chinese AI hackers. And Cloudflare blames it on a configuration file. Okay, one script kills about a fifth of the internet. Think about that. That's totally normal, you know? Why would they even have something like that that could take down most of the internet? And they're not fixing it either. Yeah, all this is totally normal. Meanwhile, Amazon Web Services went down last month. Microsoft Azure glitched, and now Cloudflare crashes so hard that even Down Detector couldn't detect the outage because Down Detector itself depended on Cloudflare. Experts are already calling Cloudflare one of the biggest single points of failure online, which is the perfect setup so when the real attack hits, they can say, see, the system was fragile, okay? AI outsmarted all of us. And now the conditioning is happening. Okay, in the Netherlands, they're running commercials showing power and internet outages, training people mentally for this incoming blackout, because a controlled blackout is the only way to force the public into the new system. When the lights go out and they declare the old internet too open or too anonymous, they'll say the future requires digital ID tied to every login, every purchase, every access point. Exactly what Tony Blair pushed at the WEF Cyber Polygon simulation. Okay, let that sink in. Put all this together, the drills and the warnings, the outages, it's so obvious what they're planning here. The cyber attack is the finale to bring in this digital ID system. The AI is just the scapegoat. The digital ID system is the end game goal. And the beta tests are already happening. Most people never realized they were in a beta test. Many people were sharing these articles about internet blackouts. They know exactly what's happening. I mean, Chinese AI, really? The whole point of the blackout is to force digital IDs and CBDCs. That's where this is going. Because when the lights come back on, they're going to say the only way to secure the system and stop this from ever happening again is for everyone to register with a digital ID, accept the digital mark. The WEF said this years ago. It's going to be introduced to the public to help prevent cyber fraud and protect the future economy. Every person needs a verified digital identity tied to their banking, internet access, medical records, everything. So the plan is simple. Hack the system yourself and then blame AI, wipe everyone's bank records clean, and then you tell everybody that the only way to get back into society is through a digital ID grid. No digital ID, no access. No access, no life. The same people who created the chaos get to rebuild the cage. So make sure you're stocking up on canned food, okay? But definitely not Campbell's soup, okay? You don't want synthetic alien slop during a blackout, okay? That won't do you well. Because while they're conditioning you for the big cyber blackout, guess what else leaks at the same time? So from cloned meat hitting the store shelves in Canada to Bill Gates funded synthetic butter they're slowly rolling out in the States. Remember that commercial with a chick selling you on this synthetic butter with a big container behind her that says Goy Slop? Yeah, we got more insanity here. Prepare for this one. You know how so many people are keeping canned foods in case of an emergency, need to keep some of those non-perishables stacked up just in case that blackout happens? Well, guess what the demons cooked up now? Literally. Turns out even the canned food isn't safe, people. Because behind the scenes, the executives making this stuff have such low respect for their own products that they're caught on tape laughing at the people who buy it. I'm not even exaggerating. A senior vice president at Campbell's Soup got secretly recorded going on a full hour-long rant calling their food garbage, mocking the customers as poor people, idiots that would even buy some of the slop. Can you believe that? So the head exec here sits down with an employee who thought they were meeting to talk salary, and instead the executive unloads like he's doing an open mic night at the Davos Comedy Club. Word for word. Here's what he said out of his mouth. He said, "We have shit for fucking poor people. Who buys our shit? I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's not healthy. Now that I know what the F's in it." That right there tells you everything you need to know. The people manufacturing the food will never eat the food, but you're supposed to store it for emergencies like it's some kind of holy survival kit. And then he goes on this rant about lab meat and printed chicken, 3D printed chicken. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer, end quote. I mean, this is crazy. Meanwhile, the PICs are pushing this synthetic garbage on the public, and they're telling you it's the protein of the future, okay? It's better for the environment. But when they think nobody's listening, they admit it's some kind of freakishly grotesque food. Disgusting. Only for the poor people. The hypocrisy is otherworldly, people. Imagine the stuff Bill Gates says behind the scenes. I wouldn't touch that synthetic meat with a 10-foot pole. It's for the peasants to eat. I mean, really imagine what they're saying behind closed doors. Now, Campbell's is pretending to be shocked. They're saying, if the recording is legitimate, the comments are unacceptable. Like, yeah, you think? The funniest part is the excuse they have. They came out saying, the alleged comments were made by an IT person who had nothing to do with us, okay? Or with how we make our food. Yeah, except he literally brags that he won't eat the food because he knows what's in it. So yeah, thank you for confirming that someone inside your own operation knows the ingredients are trash. Yeah, genius PR move. So think about where we are now. They're pushing cloned meats. They're pushing bioengineered chicken. Gates is funding synthetic dairy. And the executives behind these legacy brands are laughing behind the curtain about feeding the public 3D printed garbage while pretending it's great family food. Okay, I wish we could catch some of these demons talking about their COVID vax behind the scenes. Can you imagine some of the shit we'd hear? I mean, think about why they're driving people into poverty here. They want two tiers of society, destroying the middle class, forcing you into a system where you don't have a choice on the food you eat. If people cave in and accept this digital ID, central bank currency system, they'll be eating 3D printed chicken with COVID vax sprinkled on top of it, okay, in no time. And this is what people are stocking up on, canned foods. People are preparing for emergencies with synthetic biosludge in cans. You see the problem here? They said, in quotes, you're just a poor person eating their shit, end quote. Okay, that exact wording caught on tape. This is not real food, people. But this is the real food crisis, not the climate fear-mongering, not the cow tax, not the carbon nonsense. It's the total collapse of trust in the people who produce the food supply. They don't respect you. They don't like you. They don't eat what they sell you. Just like the vaccine. I mean, how many of our leaders were exempt from taking it? Poison for thee and not for me. So yeah, the demons are not only poisoning the wells again, they're now mocking the villagers that are drinking from it. The 2030 agenda is looking bright, isn't it? And look what lizard came crawling back into the headlines, people. So from AI hackers, incoming blackouts, Campbell's Soup sneaking lab-grown 3D printed chicken into people's bowls, Klaus Schwab decides it's the perfect moment to crawl out of his Davos cave and announce the next phase of the Great Reset, okay? Sounding like one of the best supervillains of all time, I'm not gonna lie. This guy would be a perfect villain in any James Bond movie. He drops a brand new article called The End of Business as Usual. And if you really read into it, you'll understand what's really being said here. He's saying the old world, the industrial era that built the middle class, created stable jobs, and gave people economic independence is dead. Finished. Cremated and scattered along the Swiss Alps. According to him, we're entering what he calls the intelligence age, driven by AI, automation, digital platforms, and quantum computing. The crazy part is the Times of Israel put out a piece comparing Klaus Schwab's optimism about this intelligence age to the CEO of OnlyFans. Isn't that interesting? The same exact phrasing, the same new era language. Even the Times of Israel piece basically admits it. Klaus Schwab thinks humans have to adapt themselves to the so-called intelligent age, the same way that OnlyFans CEO talks about her platform shaping the future. Both of them talking about the intelligent age, but humans weren't created to serve technology. Instead, tech has been turned into a false god in many ways. People now worship this false god, and that worship is driving society into straight mental collapse, okay? Cultural decay and possibly the end times. Social media is destroying people, and AI is replacing meaning, and all this smart technology is making humans spiritually dead. This whole new intelligence revolution Klaus Schwab is selling is really just a counterfeit version of real wisdom, the kind that comes from God, not machines. They know exactly that this new system will create spiritually hollow people. Okay, they're talking about an intelligence age. Really, Klaus Schwab, the same guy that was demanding you get vaccinated, waving his fist into the camera like not everyone is safe until everyone is vaccinated. And he's talking about the intelligence age, while at the same time promoting these death shots that give people microclots in their frontal lobes, lobotomizing society. Oh yeah, the intelligence age is coming, right? They know exactly what they want to get done. The end game is you will own nothing and you will be happy because you will be brain dead. That's the real intelligence age, huh? Both Klaus Schwab and the OnlyFans CEO envision the same endgame civilization, a society where human bodies are commodities, intimacy is destroyed, spiritual emptiness is monetized, exploitation is rampant, and entire empires are built on people's worst impulses. Meaning, both are cheering on a future that degrades humanity, but act like it's empowering. And of course, they're using the same words here. They're selling the same religion. And that worship is leading society straight into mental collapse, cultural decay, and possibly the end times. This is what the article here says. Back to Klaus Schwab, he compares this intelligence age to the invention of electricity and steam power, except this time the transformation isn't about building anything real. It's about restructuring society so everything runs through centralized digital systems. This is what this whole speech lays out here. He openly says all the assumptions of the last century, scale, efficiency, workers being replaceable, growth being tied to physical assets, are collapsing. I mean, look at the HP printer fiasco right now. They just laid off thousands of people. So yes, even he understands that this is happening and they do have a replacement system in store. I mean, are you surprised the guy that wrote the book COVID, The Great Reset, didn't have a solution in place? Really? I mean, they planned this for decades. The structures that gave normal people independence are being dismantled. In his new world, value isn't tied to resources, labor, or ownership anymore. It's tied to algorithms, network power, digital loyalty, and how fast corporations can mutate during the chaos they helped engineer. Businesses aren't even businesses anymore. They're living adaptive ecosystems, he says, which is Klaus Schwab language for corporations acting like governments without getting elected by anybody. Remember, he uses the term stakeholder capitalist. He says the companies that will dominate the next decade aren't the biggest, but the boldest, the ones willing to use AI to reinvent their entire purpose, whether that's personalized health surveillance, climate-neutral obedience systems, automated decision-making, or AI-driven behavioral management. He means the corporations willing to reshape your life around data sets, carbon quotas, and biometric checkpoints, predictive analytics, and emotional manipulation are the ones he says will lead the future. Then he casually slips in the threat here, the part he likes to frame as wisdom, that intelligent systems can either amplify humanity or diminish it, depending on how businesses use them. So in other words, this tech can uplift people or erase them. And the choice is in the hands of the same psychos who promised you you'll own nothing and be happy. Then he says businesses need a mental transformation, not just a digital one, which is basically the WEF's way of saying we're about to reprogram society and everyone better adjust their mindset to match it. Then he unveils the main event here, Schwab Academy. He starts a new academy. Look at this. He's letting people into his house. That's right. Come get your cabinet penetrated by Schwab Daddy himself. His new indoctrination program to guide humanity into the intelligence age. End quote. Sounds cute until you remember who's talking here. I mean, he says the academy will prepare people for major shifts driven by AI and quantum computing, which he calls life-changing technologies. And yeah, they're life-changing, all right, but not in the innovation way he pretends. AI and quantum computing are the spine of a new world order, okay, where access to work, healthcare, transportation, finance, education, and even basic existence is filtered through this AI algorithmic system. When Klaus Schwab says he wants to guide humanity, what he really means is train the population to accept the cage, Okay, teach them the rules of the new digital plantation. Teach them how to behave in a world where identity, speech, movement, and consumption are monitored 24/7. And isn't that interesting? Those are the exact words of Rosa Kohr, Agenda of the 21st Century. Klaus Schwab's new academy here is meant to teach people how to survive inside a future where AI tracks everything and rewrites the infrastructure. This academy isn't education, it's onboarding into the new control grid. It's a digital obedience camp for the West version of a social credit system. Same outcome as China. I mean, can you believe the wording? How they are so adamant about this system and that the Chinese slavery model is perfect to them. I mean, it doesn't matter which side they're on. Forget about right wing, left wing here. Why are they all using the same wording? They asked this leftist, socialist, Hassan Piker, I'm sure a lot of you know him, he's a real scumbag. They asked him, what's the perfect socialist system that actually works? He said, China. That's right, China is perfect. Their social credit scores, people tracked 24/7. Can you believe that? I mean, all of these demons, it's like different pathways to the same endgame slavery state. The right wing will sell it as patriotism and the left wing will sell it as socialism. Like everyone will finally be equal. It's like, I can't believe this is actually working. They won't call it surveillance, in the States, of course. They'll call it security. We got to keep the illegals out. They won't call it obedience. They'll call it trust. If you're not with us, you're for the terrorist. They won't say words like control. They'll say resilience. Klaus Schwab isn't predicting the future here. He's announcing it. He's telling you the era of physical independence and decentralized opportunity is over. AI will track everything from now on. Quantum systems will run everything, and Schwab's Academy will train how to serve inside of it. And go, sign up for Klaus Schwab's Academy because he'll train you how to live in this system. I mean, imagine how that class will go. It all will take place on Epstein's Island, of course. And look at the timing here. Right after the AI hacker Psy-Op, right after the blackout conditioning, right after the Cloudflare beta test cyber attack around the world, right after the AWS failure, and right after Campbell's Soup admitting they're sliding in 3D printed chicken in your soup. I mean, how crazy is that? Suddenly, all this is coming together. I mean, the pattern is so obvious. You really think all this is random? This is clearly coordinated here. This is the managed demolition of the old world and the controlled rollout of the new one. Klaus Schwab is telling you flat out, business as usual is over. Humanity is being guided, dragged into a new digital civilization. And like always, the DICs get the steering wheel while everyone else gets the instruction manual. Klaus Schwab Academy, folks, on how to survive the demonic system they built. Come join his course. And this is where it gets even more disgusting here because while Klaus Schwab is out here launching Schwab Academy and writing manifestos about the intelligent age, the Times of Israel runs this little blog post that pretends to critique him. But once you actually read this, it feels like the same smug mockery we just saw from the Campbell's Soup exec, bragging about the 3D printed chicken like it's a cute prank on the peasants. They quote scripture in this article and they talk about Babylon, the Antichrist, the collapse of morality, the spiritual emptiness of modern life, then calls anyone who sees Klaus Schwab as a threat just a conspiracy theorist. Okay, the person who wrote this article reassures everyone this Klaus Schwab is just a harmless, quirky old man hosting the best dinner party in the world, end quote, and treats his agenda like a normal evolution of society. Even though Klaus Schwab was on camera many times bragging about how he infiltrates cabinets. Okay, and this person that wrote this blog is telling us nothing to worry about, He's just an old man with some crazy ideas. He used the word penetrated too, though. I mean, Klaus Schwab didn't say infiltrate. He said he's penetrating cabinets. I mean, what a Freudian slip from a man that clearly spent too much time on Epstein's Island. Now back to this article here. Look at this title, From Davos to the New Jerusalem. First line here. Klaus Schwab is like OnlyFans chief executive officer CEO Kelly Blair, optimistic about the intelligent age. Yet he forgets that the intelligent age was created for humans and not humans created for the intelligent age. The irony is that this supposed intelligence is actually making humanity stupider and creating a barrier to the source of true knowledge, God. It is also placing mankind on the brink of Armageddon. Schwab is too focused on the things below and not above. His analysis is inevitably shallow. And now we got technology literally replacing God in real time, okay? Now we have AI messiahs, AI Jesus. You can just talk to AI Moses telling bedtime stories. What kind of world are we really heading into here? AI scripture? No joke. You know what I'm predicting? AI is going to write a new Bible. It's going to write a new scripture. And it's going to be based on all the religions and all of human intelligence combined into one thing, you know? Something that we can all join in and be a part of. They want digital prophets for the future, interactive miracles. 5 miles from Disneyland. This is not a joke. They're actually building this at Disneyland right now. This is the new religion they're rolling out. A godless society where technology is the deity. They acknowledge the loneliness, the addiction, the despair, the disintegration of real intimacy, the world these demons built, and then they still normalize Klaus Schwab's intelligence age like it's some perfect next step here for humanity, when all of it is what's destroying humanity. They're getting people comfortable with a future where humans worship AI. And in the background, the same psychopaths are building the infrastructure for the digital cage we're supposed to worship. I guess this is what they mean by the intelligent age and worshiping technology as our savior. And in California, look at this right here, rolling out AI Jesus as a tourist attraction, a full 360-degree digital messiah where you sit in swivel chairs and watch an AI-generated Last Supper while fake food spins around you. They've basically turned Jesus Christ into a Disney ride. This is unbelievable. The exhibit is 5 miles from Disneyland, and it shows, giant holograms, AI resurrecting biblical scenes, interactive tombs, digital blood analysis, and even a virtual priest you can chat with like it's ChatGPT. And the church admits the whole thing exists because static pictures are too boring for the TikTok generation. Faith isn't spiritual anymore, folks. They want faith to be a computer algorithm. And when you talk to it, it'll give you advice, okay? Don't worry though, it's advice that Jesus would give you. Even though Elon Musk did warn they were summoning a demon with artificial intelligence. Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Forget about all that right there. And speaking of summoning demons, look at what Trump is cooking up on his side of the collapse right here. Both political parties doing their part in tearing down the old world. And honestly, they're doing an amazing job at it. I can't believe how successful they are. If you still believe in the two-party system, you're probably a vaxxed-hard. And everyone knows you never go full vaxxed-hard. Wake up, people. While Klaus is pushing his intelligent age garbage and promoting death shots that basically give people mass lobotomies, Trump rolls out something called the Genesis Mission. And just the name alone should tell you exactly what this is, okay? He signs an executive order to merge all 17 U.S. national labs into one giant unified system, basically turning America's entire scientific backbone into a single hive network. Yeah, sounds like Palantir, I know. Then he orders them to create a closed-loop AI experimentational platform. Closed loop, meaning sealed, self-training, self-correcting, self-directed, like a black box that the public doesn't get to see into. What exactly are they building that needs to be locked away like that? He compares it to the Apollo program, except instead of rockets, it's AI, semiconductors, quantum systems, critical materials, homeland security tech all mashed together. And then look who jumps into it instantly. NVIDIA and Anthropic. You heard that right. The same Anthropic I just went over. They were trying to sell you the Psy-Op about the Chinese AI hackers breaching banks. Yeah, now they're teaming up with Trump to build what they're proudly calling the most complex scientific instrument ever created. Not a research tool, no. an instrument, they call it, something that controls everything, okay? A centralized AI system that controls absolutely everything. They openly say it will tie together America's supercomputers, AI systems, quantum machines, and national lab data sets into one integrated system that runs energy breakthroughs, medicine breakthroughs. That's right, they're preparing for AI-created cancer vaccines and other big pharma slop. Weapons breakthroughs too, meaning whatever the machine decides is the next step here in total digital surveillance. And that's crazy because that's where Palantir comes in. Now, no one is bringing up Palantir here in this new Genesis executive order, which is interesting because this is exactly what Palantir wanted. I'm going through the comments. I'm like, is anyone making the connection here that this new executive order to sign this Genesis program through is literally exactly a Palantir dream scenario? No one's bringing it up. The mass lobotomy shots really worked. A fully centralized national AI command platform sitting on top of every scientific data set, every lab, every computing cluster, every piece of critical infrastructure. Palantir has been building this exact God mode system for years. Total data, predictive modeling, okay, predictive policing, automated threat scoring based on your online search history or whatever you posted online, military grade surveillance, all funneled into a single AI controlled data set system. They just needed a president dumb enough or compromised enough to sign the paperwork. And look at this. Trump hands them the architecture on a silver platter right here. This is the Palantir state, the fusion of government, intelligence agencies, and machine learning into one system that watches everything and makes decisions faster than humans. It's the WEF vision with an American flag on top of it, okay? Trump frames it like he's cutting red tape, but what he's actually doing is giving AI full access to nuclear labs, biological labs, all of it, all under one automated AI-controlled system. A national AI brain with no public oversight. That's crazy, people. That's building the command system for a new artificial intelligence-controlled civilization. One where the machine decides which breakthroughs happen, which ones stay buried, and how fast the next phase rolls out, okay? Think about how fast AI will be preparing Psy-Op after Psy-Op, false flag after false flag. I mean, this is truly going to be a nightmare future if people don't wake up to it. And what is Trump funding? I mean, you got NVIDIA, Anthropic, and the US government teaming up to build an AI that sits on top of every single national lab. That's the birth of a state-controlled superintelligence, okay? The same agenda Klaus Schwab is literally pushing right now. And he's putting out these speeches, these articles are coming out in 1 week talking about exactly what he wants done. And it's crazy that Trump is signing executive orders to help push that exact agenda through. Okay, it's like the same agenda with different fan merch. For anyone thinking there's a good guy in this story, really pay close attention. Trump, Klaus Schwab, Henry Kissinger, they're all using the same language, the same phrases, the same vision, all operating under one umbrella. The public is being tricked into thinking Trump is a hero and the other is a villain, okay? Klaus is a villain and Trump is the hero. Both roads are leading us into the same digital hellscape. Think China's surveillance grid fused with American drone warfare, biometric tracking, AI policing, military targeting systems. They're actually beta testing this in Gaza right now. And Palantir analytics running in the background 24/7. Basically, your digital cage is going to be red, white, and blue. People forget that Henry Kissinger's final book before he died was titled Genesis. Yeah, that's right, where he argued that AI shouldn't just help humanity, it should help reshape humanity, rewrite how people think, behave, understand reality, build societies. That was his final message, and now Trump rolls out the Genesis mission. Same name, same theme, same objective. His executive order mirrors Kissinger's vision almost line for line, unifying all scientific power under one AI brain. They want one closed-loop machine that evolves faster than humans can supervise. Not a coincidence, people. That is Kissinger's plan. I mean, Kissinger laid out the blueprint. Klaus Schwab is selling the ideology. Trump is signing executive orders to speed it through. Trump wasn't chosen by the people, folks. He was selected, installed to sell the AI beast system to the one group that would normally resist it. He did it with vaccines during Operation Warp Speed, and now he's doing it with AI. This is Warp Speed 2.0, but instead of mRNA, it's total digital surveillance, predictive policing, a national AI brain, and the foundation for a soft social credit system. Klaus markets it to the globalists. Trump markets it to the conservatives. Kissinger wrote this script decades ago. This is why Klaus Schwab uses the exact wording that Kissinger uses. 3 faces, 1 agenda. And no matter which team the public thinks they're cheering for, they're being marched into the same cage. This just in, folks. Trump posts on Truth Social, we must focus all our energy and might on election fraud. Yeah. If you had any doubt the election fraud stuff was just a Psy-Op, well, here's absolute confirmation. These puppets are selected, not elected. That's why the election fraud stuff is a rabbit hole meant to waste your time and energy and lead you nowhere. That's why Trump is desperate for people to focus all their energy on it. The fact he didn't even say some, no, all people, we need to focus all our time and energy on it. That should tell you all you need to know about this clown world theater puppet show, folks. Some of you don't know what political theater looks like, and it shows. I mean, the crimes against humanity from during COVID, from mandated masks that caused endless health issues and even delayed children's brain development, lockdowns. I mean, think about the schools, gyms, libraries. They destroyed small businesses that were shut down and never got to reopen. They went out forever, not able to financially recover. Then demanding everyone get a poisonous injection as the final solution to the standard flu they rebranded. These people are purely demonic and they have a God complex. No one brought to justice over these crimes against humanity here. Why aren't all these scumbags in prison? Instead, we have Trump whining and dining Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, Larry Fink, and even Pfizer's CEO, calling him a great man. And what he did during COVID was a miracle. The same Trump who just got his COVID vax and flu shot at the same time, allegedly. Do you not see why Trump is begging the world to look away? We must focus all our time and energy on the election fraud. Endless distractions happening right now. I want people to take this very serious, okay? Not just look over there, it's election fraud, but they will resort to the final card soon, okay? And I don't think people are ready for this. The staged alien invasion might sound far-fetched for some, but trust me, it's happening sooner rather than later. Look at these outrageous titles here. Donald Trump might be the one to confirm the existence of aliens. So really think about this, okay? So just a week ago, Congress approves a bill to release the Epstein files. Oh, okay. So here's what I'm expecting from that. Either the documents are going to be the most redacted documents in declassified document history, or there will be some real dark, twisted stuff in there that they won't have redacted, confirming that the movie Eyes Wide Shut wasn't just a movie, okay? Real satanic pedo rituals going on in government offices. And when that happens, they will immediately flip the switch on the alien invasion. Guaranteed, we will see holographic projections of UFOs over New York City the day those Epstein files are released, okay? And just think, how long have they been slowly drip feeding the public about this alien stuff? There isn't a single day that passes now where the mainstream news doesn't talk about aliens and UFOs being spotted. It's truly hilarious how obvious what's happening here, okay? Look at all these articles in just 1 week. Elon Musk issues warning about potentially hostile alien threat that could kill most of human life. And another Harvard scientist shares anomaly NASA didn't mention about potentially hostile alien threat. And another one, the same Harvard scientist who warned world about potentially hostile alien threat explains, by Christmas, we will all know the truth, okay? Isn't that interesting? Oh, great. So alien invasion imminent on Christmas Day, huh? That's a perfect gift from St. Nick. Project Bluebeam, thanks. It's absolutely bizarre that this is all happening and being accepted by all these government officials. All mainstream news, regardless of political affiliations, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, you name it. All of them working together to condition the minds of the public that something extraterrestrial is on its way here. Imminent alien invasion. And the new documentary that was just released called The Age of Disclosure. And the whole thing has high-ranking government officials saying aliens are 100% real, not just the UAP, UFO stuff. But yeah, government officials are hanging out with aliens, smoking a blunt with ET. They're trying to really sell this to the people as, totally normal. The same people in the Epstein files? Really? We're going to believe these bastards? Something really is bizarre is happening when you got bipartisan support. The only thing these people agree on is the alien stuff. They can't even agree on what the weather is today, but they'll agree on aliens from other planets coming here and visiting us. I can't believe this Psy-Op right here. Check this out.
We started pushing Congress hard to hold public UAP hearings, and that's when disclosure started to get to the next level.
A House panel is holding a public hearing on mysterious flying objects.
The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee describes this as one of the great mysteries of our time. And it's a big day for all of these people who have spent so many years pushing for more transparency into this topic.
Out of everything in Congress and everything happening currently in our country and world right now, the UAP topic has been one of the only topics that's received this level of bipartisan support.
It's just not an issue, at least as of yet, in this country that lends itself to some sort of partisan or ideological divide.
Democrats and Republicans who just want to understand what's going on.
Perfect for a one world government, huh? Everyone just comes together, all sides come together under this UFO narrative. It is so interesting to watch that this idea is being accepted by everyone. There isn't a single person disagreeing. The UFO narrative is the perfect psyop because it's the only topic in American politics that ever created true bipartisan unity. Democrats, Republicans, intelligence insiders, military people. I mean, suddenly everyone's on the same page. They're just nodding away in sync, like they all agree and no one has any kind of objection to this. It's just ridiculous. And that's exactly why the DICs love it. Okay, UFOs bypass ideology, as Mark Rubio says. They bypass party lines. They bypass the usual left-right circus. It's the one storyline that can pull the entire world under a single emotional umbrella. Fear of something bigger than us. And once you have global fear, you can manufacture global solutions. A staged extraterrestrial threat becomes the perfect final card to justify a one-world government. Global defense coordination, unified digital ID, a centralized authority for humanity's survival. It's the Psy-Op that needs no enemy. Okay, we just need a few mysterious sky objects and a trembling population ready to trade sovereignty for safety. And guess what? It'll work. And during all of this, a documentary comes out called Age of Disclosure. Oh, really? So now we're in the age of disclosure now, where they have so many government people basically saying, not only have they retrieved crashed UFO spaceships through something called the Legacy Program, they say the government steals trillions for this program right here. But they also have spoken to actual aliens. I mean, what the is going on? In the documentary, they say this.
I had a few private conversations with former President George Herbert Walker Bush in 2003, in which he told me that when he became the CIA director in the Ford administration, he was not briefed on the Legacy UAP crash retrieval program, but he later found out about it, and he informed me that there were a number of crash retrievals that had taken place since the mid-1940s. And he also informed me of a UAP event that took place at Holloman Air Force Base in 1964, where 3 UAPs approached the Air Force Base. One of them landed on the tarmac, and a non-human entity deboarded the craft that landed and interacted with uniformed Air Force and civilian CIA personnel. And when he asked for more details, he was told that he did not have a need to know.
He did not have a need to know. They wouldn't tell him what's going on. How insane is that? The first George Bush, ladies and gentlemen, said aliens came out of a spaceship to talk to high-ranking military officers, okay? Just said, what up? They came off of their UFO ship, and they were like, hey, what's up, guys? What are you guys doing? And when he asked questions about it, he was basically told, shut up, you don't need to know anything. So they wait decades to finally reveal the truth, and it just so happens to coincide with the release of documents that reveal that all these demonic politicians are pedos. Like, you don't find that suspicious at all? Not at all. They're like, okay, fine. Here's the documents confirming we partied on pedophile islands with children. And we're involved in satanic worldwide trafficking rings involving Israel. But you know what? Aliens are real, okay? And we should all be focused on that. And all of our time and attention should be on election fraud and aliens. But get this, the craziest part of this documentary is this. The Secretary of State, Mark Rubio, compares the imminent alien invasion to what happened on 9/11, saying we better be open-minded to this. We need to have a big imagination because this could really happen.
Some of the biggest strategic blunders in human history. The foundation of those blunders were a lack of imagination, the belief that an adversary or whoever could not do something because it had never been done before. The U.S. thought it was safe with those ships in Pearl Harbor because we didn't think that the Japanese could get there, much less have torpedoes that could navigate such a narrow strait and hit these ships until they did. We never thought in our wildest dreams that terrorists would strike us in the homeland by training for a year to become pilots and then hijacking commercial aircraft and crashing them into buildings. And they did. The thing that always keeps me up at night, something in the human psyche that says, I don't have time or energy to sort of prepare for the unforeseen or what I've never seen done before.
Wild.
And you know, that leads to strategic surprise and sometimes strategic surprises that change the course of human history.
You see his face and the tone he's using. It's like he knows what's coming. You know, they all know what's coming. Something is being planned here. And he says you need to keep a big imagination. Yeah, you do. You do need a big imagination to accept the official story of 9/11. That's right. Hijackers, you know, box cutters, and they hijack these planes, and then the planes hit the buildings, and the buildings just disintegrated into dust, and then the third building also collapses and turns to dust too. Okay, we need to all accept that as just, you know, standard physics. It's total nonsense. And how crazy is it? Even Israeli scientists, the Harvard scientist Avi Loeb, saying we need to take 3I Atlas, this comet, really serious. It could be aliens. And he compares it to October 7th. Okay, Israeli intelligence didn't take Egypt's warning serious, and then October 7th happened. Do we really want that when it comes to aliens? We need to take the alien threat serious. And it's interesting how Rubio slides that line in there, reinforcing the official 9/11 story as if the case is closed. We never imagined terrorists training to be pilots just to fly planes into the towers until they did. That line is designed to anchor the government narrative and shut down any deeper questions. Anyone who looked into what happened on 9/11, you know, you read Judy Wood's research or the alternative investigations, knows the evidence points into a different direction. I mean, you know, there could be directed energy weapons that were used on that day. Steel turning to dust. I mean, all that debris just gone. Where did the towers go? Impossible collapse patterns and serious claims that what hit the towers may not have been commercial planes at all. I mean, there's serious science supporting this, that planes can't fly that low at that speed without having their wings immediately detached. So many people are claiming that they were actually drones or missiles with holographic projections on them. And there is real science backing that up. So why is Rubio using that exact example in a documentary about UFOs? Because he's framing the idea of an unexpected threat and preparing people to accept another one without questioning it. If 9/11 did involve advanced weapons, directed energy weapons, and possible holographic deception, then really think about it. It's not hard to imagine the next staged event would use that same technology on a bigger scale. I mean, if it worked once, they might use it again for something way bigger. A fake alien attack wouldn't require real extraterrestrials. It would only require high-level holographic projections, classified directed energy weapons, which now we know for sure they have. I can say this with absolute confidence. And a media machine ready to sell the panic, which they do have. Bipartisan support, you name it, Fox News, CNN, they'll all agree on this one thing. And notice how the propaganda machine is already prepping people for that exact script. You've got these brand new headlines about Russian soldiers finding a crashed UAP, okay? And get this, in the UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, for people that don't know, they actually changed the acronym now. It used to be UFO, but I guess that had too much stigma behind it. You know, UFOs, little green men. So they thought they're going to change it to UAPs to make it sound more, you know, modern and convincing. But that story of Russian soldiers finding a UAP, and guess what they discovered inside the UAP? They claim to have discovered an exotic directed energy weapon inside of it. I mean, how crazy is, like, you're seeing the Psy-Op being built here. They're spoon feeding the public the idea that aliens supposedly have directed energy weapons. So when the next false flag alien attack melts a building or fries a city block, the average NPC won't question it. They'll just mumble, oh yeah, they did say, you know, the Russians did say they found a UAP and those aliens have advanced laser weapons. It's psychological priming, conditioning, a setup so the government can unleash its own tech and blame it on space boogeyman. Okay, they want the alien card to feel plausible before they ever play it. Just listen to this right here.
We won the war and it made us a superpower for almost a century now. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
Some of the craft observed could be the result of say, our legacy program. Or, on the other hand, it might be the result of advancements made by potential adversaries.
We have seen highly credible U.S. government intelligence on the Soviet recovery of a crashed UAP in 1989. They recovered a Tic Tac-shaped UAP that was twice as big as the Tic Tac that was encountered by the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, and they did recover 4 bodies of humanoid aliens. The Soviet scientists took apart the recovered craft and discovered a very advanced directed energy weapon.
Oh,
China's
really?
at the top of everybody's list.
This is so insane. How insane is all this? I mean, who believes that? Even if you believe the idea of, you know, aliens, advanced civilization, millions of years ahead of us, they're constantly coming here in their spaceships, their advanced spaceships, where they manipulate space and time and they can go these extreme distances, yet they keep crashing like they're drunk teenagers driving a 98 Honda Civic. It's absolutely absurd. And they're always crashing, apparently. And they're, you know, the legacy program, the Russians, the Chinese, USA, they're retrieving these crashed UFOs and they're taking the alien bodies out. It's just so outrageous. And what really exposes the whole scam is how suddenly every major government, the US, Russia, China, is magically stumbling onto crashed UFOs, loaded with aliens and high-tech weapons. Like they're all following the same script here. I mean, seriously, what are the odds? These countries can't agree on food imports, tariffs, but somehow they're all finding the exact same extraterrestrial wreckage with the exact same storyline at the exact same time. Come on. It's just outrageous. It is coordinated. I'm telling you, this sounds like their next Psy-Op, and they might do it sooner rather than later. They're setting the stage together, pretending to be enemies while running one shared Psy-Op in this entire world. If all 3 superpowers claim aliens crashed into their backyards, it's not disclosure. They are preparing you for the ultimate false flag. And they've been preparing this for decades. I mean, Ronald Reagan gave a speech talking about how incredible it would be if an alien invasion happened because of how fast they'd be able to form a one world government. All nations would immediately put their differences aside and come together. Never thought I'd live to see this right here. The final card might be played soon. And I don't think people are ready for that level of destruction. That level of destruction would make people accept whatever global response comes next, because it's going to be so realistic that people are even going to call me crazy or you crazy for trying to expose it, because we're going to see thousands, maybe even millions perish in this next Psy-Op. It's honestly pathetic. These demons can't even stage their Psy-Ops properly anymore, okay? The truth is they're fumbling the fake alien invasion narrative, and the exact same sloppy fingerprints are all over the Crooks operation as well. First, they stage him as a ghost. You know, they said this Crooks guy that allegedly shot at Trump, which is, total nonsense. And they're saying he had no online presence whatsoever because, a kid of his age doesn't go online at all. Then hundreds of violent comments, burner emails, and videos magically appear the moment independent investigators look. First, they stage him as a right-wing lone wolf. Then his posts show he flipped politically overnight while chatting with some mystery extremist handler the FBI pretends doesn't exist. They cremate the body, hose down the crime scene, wipe the records, and then claim they'll explain everything after the trial. In a case where the suspect is dead. This wasn't a mistake. It was staged from the start. And they're lying the same way they always do. It's lazy. It's sloppy. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but they're assuming no one will connect the dots. And I'm assuming that will happen during this staged alien invasion. There's going to be a lot of holes in it, okay? I don't know. There's just always seems to be holes in their psyops. Nothing is done perfectly, okay? Only God is perfect, and the devil here makes a lot of mistakes. And I'm here to expose that BS. Okay, people, another day, another mystery virus outbreak. That's right. We're not going to get away from this virus fear porn ever. I really hope they pull off the alien invasion before I see another pandemic. I'm hoping, okay, because I'm so tired of the endless outbreaks here. Okay, in Washington, a man became severely ill with a brand new virus that's never been seen in humans before. As if we haven't heard enough of virus BS lately. How burnt out are you about viruses and pandemics? It's actually ridiculous. This time, guess what they're calling it? H5N5, a bird flu strain that magically jumps from ducks and geese straight into an older guy with health issues who just so happened to have a little backyard poultry farm, Two of his birds mysteriously died right before this. Yeah. And they're saying, that jumped to him and then he caught it. Health officials are already out here saying risk to the public is low, just more excuses to kill more animals. These people are true demons. I mean, they killed all these ostriches at that farm in Canada over the same threat. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people tested positive for H5N5 and then we see fighter jets go over them just dropping bombs on everyone, treating them like ostriches that were infected. And now they're swearing there's going to be no person-to-person spread, even though they did say the same thing during COVID at the beginning. No worries, people. No person-to-person spread, which, they were honest at the beginning. And then they decided to change their tone because, they found a perfect opportunity, which is Klaus Schwab's exact words. So who knows what will come of this? Okay, they warned that viral evolution is unpredictable. In other words, they have no idea what's going on, but if they feel like they can turn this into a pandemic, they will. The CDC says no one else has tested positive, but remember, the US already had 71 human bird flu cases since 2024, including one death. They claim, okay, we know the BS behind virus theory here. But don't worry, they say this one's totally different, totally contained, and totally not the opening scene of another sloppy Psy-Op. Just another day in clown world, folks. It's actually hilarious, the never-ending COVID variants they got going around forever. Really think about that for a second, okay? A lab leak happened. Evil Chinese scientists developed a new virus they bioengineered and it leaked out of a lab. And now we have to deal with new variants until the end of time. Do you understand how absurd that narrative is? Like, it's so insulting to our intelligence. If it happens once, it would happen millions of times over. If viruses were able to mutate and become more transmissible and deadly, they say there's more viruses than there are stars in the universe. I mean, think about that. Wouldn't we all be dead 1,000 times over from endless viruses? They are lying to you. It's a total joke. Okay, and the COVID variants seem to have a seasonal touch on them. Okay, you got Christmas variants, a summer variant. I mean, in early October, I didn't mention this, but they had the nerve to tell us there was a new COVID variant. And guess what it was? It was called the Frankenstein variant. Yeah, that's right. Just in time for Halloween. That's right, people. Make sure you go get your Frankenstein shot to cure you of the Frankenstein variant. Okay, all of this virus nonsense is just conditioning for the next round of death shots. That's it. That's the real play here. The The system wants you jabbed forever because the snake feeds through the needle. It injects, you obey, and it watches you offer yourself up like it's some kind of twisted ritual. Okay, the snake needs to inject venom. And while they pump out these mystery outbreaks, look what slips out of the CDC here. They finally admit the slogan, vaccines don't cause autism, was never based on any evidence. They're now saying the studies never ruled it out, that aluminum adjuvants track almost perfectly with the rise in autism, and that none of the 20 infant shots given before age 1 have ever been proven safe in that regard. Not once, ever. Okay, the CDC now lays it out. RFK Jr. has been saying this for a while now. The people telling you vaccines don't cause autism were lying. HHS is now scrambling, doing the studies they should have done 30 years ago, comparing vaccinated versus unvaccinated kids and investigating the biological mechanisms they pretended didn't exist. So while the CDC is quietly admitting their fraud, they distract everyone with UFO headlines, alien Psy-Ops, and the next never-before-seen virus. You know, it's the same playbook. Leak the truth with one hand, blind the public with the other. The demonic sleight of hand, folks. And as you can see here, they did a study. Unvaxxed kids versus vaxxed kids. And you can take a look yourself and see these numbers here. It's just absolutely evil. Crimes against humanity to the highest extent. Think about the parents that have to struggle with a child with severe autism. Parents that have to struggle with the fact they just lost their baby. I can't imagine the pain. People need to be held accountable for this. They can't go unpunished. We all get paid more if we make you sicker. An honest doctor lays it out. Let's check it out.
I'm Dr. Scott Jensen, and I am not exaggerating when I tell you, if you're a patient, your doctor, your insurance company, your clinic, your hospital, we can all get paid more if we make you sicker. And I think you need to understand that. This patient's on Medicare. His insurance company will get paid more by Medicare if this patient is seen as more sick. There's all kinds of incentive plans being doled out by insurance companies and government programs to clinics and providers and healthcare systems. For instance, one of them that you may have heard of is if a clinic can hit a certain threshold level of patients taking a certain kind of vaccine, they get paid a chunk of money for each one of those patients that took the vaccine. So it's not uncommon to have like an influenza vaccine incentive program and say you have 1,000 patients that could potentially qualify. Well, if you could hit, say, 60%, you might get this amount of money per patient. If you can hit 80%, they'll give you this much. Literally, doctors can get tens and tens of thousands of dollars on an annual basis for an incentive program as simple as that. Wow. Here's another one. If we can call you diabetic based on some parameters, even if we're not treating you with the medication or didn't really do anything for you, if we can call you diabetic and we do a test called an A1C. Now, if we do an A1C and we get a 6.8 reading, that allows us to call you diabetic, even if we don't do anything for you. And when a person has diabetes, generally a doctor or a clinic will get a good mark if they can keep that person's A1C less than 7.5, sometimes less than 8, sometimes less than 7. But if you can call someone a diabetic with an A1C of 6.8, you don't have to do anything. You just get to put them down as a diabetic, and they'll count as a good patient for you because you've gotten their A1C to less than 7 or 7.5. So all of a sudden, you've got this bizarre incentive to call as many of your patients as possible diabetics.
So yeah, I mean, there you have it. They make a lot of money keeping you sick. I mean, are you surprised? Now they're trying to say high blood pressure is 120 over 80. They keep changing it. It used to be 140 over 100 or something like that decades ago, and they keep changing it, moving the goalpost. If you have blood pressure that's slightly over 120/80, you need blood pressure medication, okay? You're going to die. I mean, this is why when I was 25, they gave me blood pressure medication. The doctor whistled when he saw my blood pressure. He said, oh, that's way too high. You need to take these pills. And those pills gave me a permanent cough. I was waking up at night coughing. Told the doctor, he said, oh yeah, that's the blood pressure medication. That's when you know it's working. I was like, what kind of poison am I taking here? It's total insanity. And I stopped obviously taking it. That was before I really woke up to how purely evil the big pharma snake really was. So while they're scaring the masses with another mystery virus, they're also running brand new pandemic drills. Like the next pandemic is already lined up here, folks. In the UK, they just finished something called Exercise Pegasus, their biggest pandemic simulation ever. And they ran it in secret this fall while pretending everything was okay. While they didn't let anyone know what was happening. They even locked down schools again. Not for real, but for the drill. So the government could rehearse what to do when, a new child-killing virus shows up. Not even exaggerating, the fake virus they used was a mutated enterovirus, they say. It's called EVD68, supposedly starting on some made-up Southeast Asian island and spreading worldwide, causing respiratory failure, brain swelling, and even paralysis in babies, kids, and teenagers. This time, the script wasn't save grandma, it was save your kid. That's the new fear angle they're going to pull here. The whole thing played out exactly like 2020. WHO declares a pandemic, travel bans slam in, schools shut down, hospitals overwhelmed, protests break out, mask mandates return, and by phase 3, they go full national lockdown and close non-essential businesses again. They ran a drill for this. They even tossed in food shortage panic because the virus was supposedly carried by pigs. These people are literally rehearsing the next rollout beat for beat, and they justify it by pointing to the COVID inquiry, whining that the UK did too little, too late. So what do they do? More lockdown drills, more emergency powers, more crisis acting. They even activated Cobra. It's interesting they call it Cobra, huh? Yeah, Cobra. Yeah, the snake needs to inject venom. And pulled in every major government department, all devolved nations, and the whole emergency chain. Their excuse? To simulate a realistic pandemic scenario. Yeah, okay. At least they admit the last 4 years weren't realistic at all because there was no pandemic. So now they need to have a realistic pandemic scenario. Nothing about their mindset has changed. Same clowns, same thinking. Same obsession with shutting down schools, even though their own inquiry admitted it destroyed childhood. They just shifted the fictional virus to target kids instead of seniors, which tells you exactly where the next fear campaign is aimed. I'm really hoping that's not why they set up all these 5G towers on top of elementary schools, okay? Because that would be purely demonic, but you can't put it past the DICs. They might really go for this. And here's the part that gives it away here. They openly admit drills like Pegasus are happening all over the world now. Now, just to make things interesting, I think y'all can make the connections here yourselves. The UK's big secret pandemic drill was called Pegasus, and Pegasus just happens to be the name of Israel's most infamous spyware weapon. The one that can break into your phone without a click, read everything, track your location, turn on your mic, camera, the whole thing. It's been used on journalists, activists, political opponents. Basically everyone, okay? Anybody anti-Semitic got the Pegasus spyware in their phone. So you've got Pegasus the virus drill and Pegasus the surveillance weapon. Same name, same theme, same control mechanisms. Lockdowns, travel bans, and emergency powers on one side. Total phone infiltration and population monitoring on the other. And while this drill happens, truckloads of phones are being shipped into Gaza, which sounds helpful until you remember Pegasus has already been used to target people in that region for years. If even a handful of those devices are compromised, that's millions of microphones and location beacons in the middle of a war zone. You don't want Israeli phones in your pocket, okay? That's what Netanyahu was bragging about. Time for some hilariousness here. I don't know if this falls into the karma is a bitch segment, but let's go over this because it's just wild. The climate doom and gloom creeps all flew into Brazil for their COP30 climate summit, the same summit where they lecture everyone else about carbon footprint, telling us we need to give up eating steak, stop driving cars, while they fly their private jets to these meetings. And get this, while they're giving their speeches at the climate summit, the whole conference catches on fire. Flames climbing up the walls, you got delegates running for their lives, people choking on smoke while their big Save the Planet meeting literally burns down. BBC said smoke was pouring through the pavilion. People were screaming, collapsing, emergency crews dragging them out with oxygen masks. 13 treated, 1 wheeled away, and the rest standing outside in brutal heat looking like they just got hit with a real-life climate lesson. Some even had to hide under a gas station roof, which is hilarious because nothing fits their narrative like climate activists taking shelter under a fossil fuel pump. The UN shut everything down and claimed they don't know what caused it, even though people on the ground said it looked like an electrical fire. That's rich coming from the same crowd that swears the world will explode if you plug in a toaster wrong. Isn't that interesting? Nearly 200 countries showed up to fix the planet, and the first thing that went down in flames was their own summit. The joke writes itself. These are the same people who blame every fire that happens on climate change. Okay, when we clearly have reports of arsonists doing it, while their own climate conference goes up like a barbecue. At this point, it almost feels staged, okay? Like they're so desperate to keep the narrative alive. What better way to sell global warming than burning down your own climate summit just to prove a point? I think that's what they did. Look how bad global warming is. It lit our own conference on fire. I mean, this is like the universe clowning their whole show, okay? And if it did happen naturally, oh my God, the universe's humor is undefeated. Okay, people, well, ain't that some shit? Because this might be one of the most obvious the empire has no clothes moments of the year. So someone posts a screenshot showing that the official United States Department of Homeland Security account on X was literally listed as being based in Israel, with an Israel App Store connection, Tel Aviv location data, the whole thing. And Grok even confirmed it. Yes, the DHS account location really did show up as being in Israel during a feature rollout. So there's a new feature rollout and you click on this and that's where the location was. Well, ain't that some shit? We're supposed to believe the most advanced surveillance department on earth accidentally forgot what country it lives in. And just when you think it can't get any more clown world than that, DHS themselves respond to it by posting a picture of Trump looking like he was caught, like startled, you know? This is how they respond to someone calling them out for being located in Israel. How crazy is that? No explanation, you know? They didn't deny it. No seriousness at all. Just a reaction meme. Like they're openly laughing in everyone's face. It feels like they didn't just get caught. I mean, they celebrated getting caught. Like they're saying, oh, we're based in Israel? No way. Oh, wow. You don't say. Anyway, here's a cute little meme, peasants. And this is exactly what I mean when I say every government on earth is owned by the same demons. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're not even trying. They slip up, reveal the strings for 3 seconds, and instead of covering it up, they just mock the public like it's all a big inside joke. And honestly, watching the Department of Homeland Security not even take it serious, like, yeah, we're, coming straight out of Tel Aviv, like a Jewish NWA, they're clowning on Americans too with a Trump meme. That's all they had to say about it. Like, oh, you caught us. I mean, this is nuts. And what makes all this even weirder is that Netanyahu spent years swearing up and down that Epstein had nothing to do with Israel, nothing to do with Mossad, nothing to do with their elections. Nothing to see here, move along. Totally innocent billionaire pedophile just hanging around Israeli prime ministers for fun. Then out of nowhere, Netanyahu tweets a picture of Epstein and Ghislaine on his X account, and he shares an article openly admitting that Epstein was meddling in Israeli elections. What? Like, this is some sloppy propaganda. I told you they're pretty sloppy with it, but this isn't a confession. It's like a cleanup. This is classic Israeli slop when they get caught. Deny everything for years, and then when the connections are obvious, they move the goalpost. So when the truth finally bursts through, they can pretend they always knew. They knew Epstein worked with Israel, but get this, Netanyahu claims to be the victim of it. I'm not even joking. First it was Epstein had zero ties to Israel. Now it's, oh well, actually he was just advising Ehud Barak, nothing serious. And next it'll be, okay, fine, maybe he helped steer an election, but he wasn't officially Mossad. Call that the classic Israeli 180, folks. Deny, minimize, then rebrand the scandal as normal. And seeing Netanyahu himself post an Epstein article right as DHS gets caught being based in Tel Aviv just feels hilarious. Like that was the punchline right there. Unbelievable. A coordinated narrative reset. That's what they needed, and that's what they went with. They're trying to control the fallout, reposition the story, and drip feed a new version to the public. Because once people make the connection, the whole house of cards start shaking, okay? And that's when they hit you with Project Bluebeam. These demons know it. And the funniest part in all of this is while Epstein's name keeps leaking back into the headlines, Trump is out here making sure Ghislaine is living her best life in prison. Let's just say she's not exactly rotting away in a concrete box with, no entertainment whatsoever. No, she's basically at a taxpayer-funded retreat. She's on a vacation in there, probably sipping, adrenochrome martinis by the window, while correctional officers treat her like royalty. And the rest of America thinks she's paying for her crimes. The so-called max security facility looks more like a overpriced liberal arts campus. Look at this right here. Someone captured her on camera, going on jogs, hanging out. She got yoga, meditation classes, email access. I mean, she has it all in there. Music rooms and healing space. Oh, great. It says healing space. So yeah, she even has a little safe space for herself. While her victims are still drowning in paperwork and getting nothing but empty statements from the DOJ. And the only reason we know any of this is because a brave medical worker, Noella Turnage, started noticing Maxwell getting VIP doctor visits, fluffy pillows, custom menus, tucked in sheets, the whole 5-star experience. While other inmates waited months just to be seen for a cough. The second she asked a question she wasn't supposed to ask, she gets told to keep her mouth shut. And when she leaks the emails proving this clown show favoritism, she's immediately fired for policy violations and escorted off the property like she's the threat. So victims are getting treated like shit out here while Ghislaine is strolling around the yard with her fancy little umbrella like she's on a holiday. According to the people running the show, this is justice. This is accountability. And Trump at first said the Epstein stuff is all a Democrat hoax, doesn't even exist. Yeah, what is she in prison for again? They want to call this accountability. This is the system working exactly how the demons designed it. Even when you send one of them to prison, they're having the time of their lives. And just to drive the point home here, Alan Dershowitz says the Epstein victims are lying and singles out Maria Farmer, accusing her of anti-Semitism. She was one of the victims of the Epstein stuff, for saying, all the Jewish people I met are pedophiles who run the economy and are under the control of the Rothschilds.
What I know about the files is they contain a lot of material that show that some of the witnesses, some of the accusers, some of the quote survivors are liars and bigots. Let me give you an example. There's a woman named Maria Farmer. She's been all over the place. CNN, she's been on MSNBC. Nobody ever questions her. Here's what she said in something that hasn't been released, something that's been suppressed. She said, I have a hard time with the Jewish people. All the Jewish people I met are pedophiles who run the economy. They're under the control of the Rothschilds.
Wow.
This is a woman who's a blatant anti-Semite.
Based and absolutely correct in everything she said.
And she has accused only Jews. Don't you think the public has the right to know that?
Oh, I wonder why an Epstein victim accused the Jews for all of this. I mean, can it get any more obvious? Right when you think the Epstein-Israel mess couldn't get any darker, here comes the part that is so dark that even mainstream media won't touch on the details. The guy wasn't just trafficking kids for elites. He was also acting like a wandering middleman trying to build Israel its own private cyber weapons empire. Okay, you heard that right. The newly leaked emails basically show Epstein running around like a deranged Silicon Valley Cupid, trying to hook up Ehud Barak with Arian de Rothschild. So the Swiss banking dynasty could quietly bankroll a whole new generation of Israeli offensive hacking tools. This is nuts. Epstein was promised intros, arranging secret meetings, coaching Barak on how to charm a Rothschild, and passing messages back and forth like some creepy middleman for the global intelligence class. And all of it was tied to Israeli military tech, Unit 81 engineers, seed money for cyber weapons startups, back channel deals, and attempts to spin off spy gear into legit companies. You've got Barak begging Epstein for advice on women, end quote, in one of the documents. Ariane flying around the world managing Epstein's estate problems, and these people casually talking about hacking phones, building NSA-style surveillance programs, and laundering money through Swiss banks that later got busted for, surprise, surprise, money laundering. And while they're doing all of this, the Israeli state is fighting a tax war with the Rothschild Foundation. Epstein is booking dinners with Sarkozy. Barack is plotting cyber labs, and everyone is coincidentally in bed with the exact same banks, intelligence agencies, and shadow networks that keep getting caught running Psy-Ops around the world. The Epstein stuff sounds like an origin story of a cyber mafia running on blackmail, offshore cash, and Zionist statecraft. But of course, the media acts shocked every time a new email drops. Like this wasn't the obvious picture from day one. And honestly, when you read these emails, you suddenly understand what that comments are meant. One email thread basically exposes 80-something billionaires and power brokers running the world like it's their private group chat. It makes the whole democracy thing sound like a sick joke. And I gotta go over this one comment I saw here that I thought was actually really interesting. This person, Roseanne, says one email equals 82 billionaires and how they really run this country, here and abroad. That's the craziest part about this whole article. No wonder Trump has time to golf, and no wonder he is the court jester. No wonder no one wanted these seen. What I wonder, and will not know because I don't know a billionaire, is why does Trump want these to be seen now? What I mean is, why do the billionaires tell Trump to say he's okay with this? What other nasty things are these billionaires doing? It is both terrifying and mind-boggling to see what our real government, not elected government, is up to. This is so interesting. So imagine what they're actually doing behind the scenes is so much worse than whatever is in these documents. So these same 82 billionaires that were just exposed in all these emails are saying, yeah, go ahead and release it. I mean, this is like the minor stuff. I mean, it's absolutely insane. When you see how these people actually operate, I mean, the money laundering, the cyber weapon schemes, the offshore banks, the blackmail webs, you finally get a peek at the real government. And it's not the one you see on TV, the political clown show. It's the one no one ever voted for. Clinton Russell says Massey and MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, risk their political careers to force disclosure of the Epstein files. Files that should have never been hidden. I will forever appreciate that sacrifice to do what was right. The real traitors are the people attacking them on behalf of Israel. And it's really interesting that MTG actually resigned because of this. Let's check out what she says, and shout out to her and Massey for calling this stuff out.
And he called me a traitor for
Trump
standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people, whom we serve as representatives here in Congress, demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the real fight will happen after that.
And that's where I'm going to leave it, folks. If you like what I do here, if you want to support the show, links are in the description. 4 ways to support. It is greatly appreciated. Everything you see here done by myself. So if you appreciate the effort that goes into this, please click those links in the description. Without your support, the show does not carry on. So please, people, if you want to support, consider hitting those links in the description. Purchase the Eyes Wide Open coffee, organic coffee, my favorite, from fireweedgallery.com. My favorite coffee, people. If you want to send me crypto wallets are in the description of this video. If you're watching on BitChute, make sure you click that membership affiliate link in the comment section, the pinned comment, and you will be helping this show and BitChute help preserve free speech online by doing so. Very important you support these websites and channels like this. Send me mail. My P.O. box address is in the description of this video, and it costs a lot of money to keep that thing open, okay? I want to know if it's worth it or not, so you guys better send something to my damn P.O. box before I shut it down. So, yeah, people, if you want to support this channel, links are in the description of this video. Until next week, folks, until next time, this is Steve Eyes. You're on the Eyes is Watching channel, signing off.